name's Anastasia Underwood, and I am a nutrition program associate with the University of Missouri Extension in Clay County. I am here today to teach you a new recipe. So we're going to try a nice healthy food. It's a good lunch food. You could make it for dinner as well, or even just a snack in the afternoon. And it's really great. It's actually a good vegetarian option, and you could pull the mayonnaise out and use a substitute and even make it vegan. So what we're making today is going to be tofu egg salad. So really just our egg salad, kind of a basic egg salad, but we're using tofu instead of eggs. So I've done a few things to get ready. Our first instruction is going to be to press out our tofu and crumble it into a bowl. Oh, you know what? I should probably go through our ingredients first, shouldn't I? So we need about 3 ounces of extra firm tofu. I'll show you the tofu that I have that I was pressing here. That's why it's on a board. So I bought this pre-cut tofu. For this recipe, you can buy pre-cut, you could buy the blocks. It really doesn't matter because we're gonna crumble it. So we don't need to worry about those cuts, but sometimes those cuts can be useful for other recipes. So we need 3 ounces of that tofu, and I have gone ahead and crumbled it up here in the bowl, and I'll show you just so you can see what it looks like. So that's our tofu. We need 2 tablespoons of celery and 1 tablespoon of onion, both diced. Our onion can be minced, so smaller dicing. I've already got that set up right here. So we're just gonna pull a tablespoon right out of that when we're ready. We also need 1 tablespoon of light mayonnaise. I've got that measured out here. We need 1 tablespoon of non-fat yogurt. It's a great source of protein. We also need 1/4 teaspoon of mustard. I put a little extra in our bowl just because I foresee myself having a little trouble getting it out of there. So that is a little more than 1/4 teaspoon, but you can also use that to taste. One other thing I wanted to mention is our recipe calls for a prepared mustard. A lot of the time we think of that as being yellow mustard, but you could use any mustard that you prefer. Today I'm going to be using a Dijon mustard. We also are going to need our lemon juice. I actually have fresh squeezed here, so I put it in a little bowl, got it good and measured out. And last but not least, we need our spices. So I've got 1/8 teaspoon of salt and pepper and 1/8 teaspoon of dill here. All right, so once you have all your ingredients together, you've got your vegetables chopped, the first thing we need to do is we need to press our tofu. So tofu is made out of soybeans, and we take those soybeans, we mash them up, and we create this kind of creamy, cheesy product. And it actually is full of moisture. And when we purchase it, it's usually found in a container full of water to keep it moist. So what I've done, and this is the easiest way to do it, I think, you can take a dry paper towel or a clean, dry fabric towel. And you want to take a cutting board, cooking sheet, whatever you have at home. A plate could work too. That's big enough for your tofu to set flat. We want to take that dry towel or paper towel, fold it up a couple times so you have some absorbency in it, and we're going to put that tofu down on top of our paper towel. Now you want a second set of paper towels to go on top here, and these are the ones I've already used, so they're kind of wet, but we want to have those to be dry from the get-go. So what I did then is I took my cutting board, I laid it on top, and I took a heavy jar from my pantry, and I let that sit for about 30 minutes. All right, so that's going to be the longest part of this process, is just pressing out that tofu. So if you are a regular tofu eater, probably already have some pressed out and ready in your fridge. So the next step is to crumble our 3 ounces of tofu into a bowl. So I already showed you, we've got that crumble going, looks really good. And I just simply used a fork to do that. So it's pretty easy. You do it by hand. Next, we need to mix in our celery and onions. So I didn't have a bowl to measure this, so I'm just going to measure it really quickly. We have 2 tablespoons of celery. So I'm going to put 1 and 2. The nice thing about a recipe like this too is it's not like baking where we have to be very exact. you can kind of scoop and dump and make it to your taste. It makes it nice and easy, and we don't have to be perfect. My favorite type of recipe. All right, so we've got our celery. We now need 1 tablespoon of onion. And we're going to set that aside for just a second. So in our smaller bowl, we are going to combine our mayonnaise. Got 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise. We are going to combine our non-fat yogurt, also a tablespoon here. All right. We need to add in our 1/4 teaspoon of mustard. Beautiful. And let's see, lemon juice. That's an easier one. Just dump that right in. And last but definitely not least, our salt, pepper, and our dill spices are going to go in next. All right. We're going to mix that well. So you just want to make sure your spices get good and evenly spread through your mixture, and that mayonnaise especially is, or the mustard especially, is good and mixed in. All right, that's looking pretty good. Got a nice kind of light yellow colored. Make sure you can see all that dill in there. It looks so yummy. All right. Step 3, we are going to add our dressing mixture into our tofu mixture. So that's why I got a spatula for this part. Makes it a little easier to get everything out of the bowl. All right. So this is where we're at. And we are simply just going to gently mix that together. And I'll show you what that looks like while I'm doing it. And it really does look like egg salad. You kind of get that egg texture. And one of the nice things about tofu is very high in protein. And it's really a great substitute if you're maybe somebody who does meatless nights sometimes. Tofu can be substituted for all types of things. So that is why I chose this recipe today. I wanted to show you a nice fun way to just kind of put a little mix on a recipe you might have made before. So that is looking pretty good. I think that's about it. So this recipe makes about 1 cup of our tofu salad. And you could use that for a lot of different things. I think the first thing that comes to mind for me is going to be a nice sandwich, a couple of pieces of bread, some fresh spinach, and maybe some cheese would be good to add a little bit of calcium. But really, you could do all kinds of things. You could put it in a lettuce leaf for a wrap. You could add it on top of some lettuce or greens for salads. The options are truly endless. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today for our recipe. I hope you all enjoy this tofu egg salad, and we'll see you again next week for some cuisines in quarantine. Bye.